I want to now let the conference begin. And we are very, very excited that we have each other to learn from, with all these amazing backgrounds of experiences and lifetime of expertise and ideas and challenges and learnings. And we have someone that has come to help us once more. He was here last year, and he pretends he's not listening. Tim Casswell. He's a friend, a mentor, a life coach, a business coach, an alchemist, an amazing human being. And he's here to facilitate our success in creating some magic of these 2 days together. I want to welcome Tim to the stage. And on top of everything, he's handsome. Right? Thank you, Tim. So, what was that?
Just a red shirt and a red dress.
Yes.
We clash a little bit, don't we?
Yeah, because your red is different than my red. So I want to leave it there. I want to leave it in his hands now to make magic of all the amazing work we have here and people we have here and things we have to accomplish. Thank you so much. Thank you again, and enjoy. Most of all, enjoy, and let's roll. Thank you.
Hello? So, I was here last year. Well, I wasn't here. I was in London last year. And when I heard that the conference was on in London, I managed to get a free ticket by agreeing to paint the visual minutes of the conference. Who was there in London? Okay, hi. Hi again. And I was struck by what was happening in London, because I met Jim and Daniela back in early 2001, or even maybe earlier than that. And things were beginning to happen then. But what was happening in London was quite a different sort of a spirit. There seems to be something changing and growing and developing, and a confidence. And so we did the visual minutes last year and captured some of that spirit. And I said to Daniela, could we come again this year? And she said, well, you have to talk to Chris, because he's in charge. And so I talked to Chris, and he was a bit anxious. Well, no, he wasn't actually. He was very enthusiastic about the idea of having a conference where the people who came were able to be not just entertained by all the speakers and the experts who are speaking from the stage, but have a chance to get together and think about how you were going to be seriously part of a movement. Now, some people have told me that the word movement is really old-fashioned, and it doesn't really mean anything anymore, but I'm still inspired by it. I remember Bob Dylan saying, "The times they are changing," and that really got me going. And I'm still in that kind of a phase. Young people, Bob Dylan was a singer who was... do you know Bob Dylan? He's still alive, actually, I think. So. And I think that there is something happening in this place. Now, I work mostly in many other sectors. I don't really go anywhere near any farmland or ranches. But when I hear the things, I mean, I was just so inspired that we started with that story about vineyards. Wasn't that amazing? Now, all of you know the story so well, but it's a little bit like children's stories. They say, please, can you tell me the story again? And how much water was saved, how much irrigation was saved, how much more productivity there was. And we all love that story, don't we? And I think you're going to hear that story again and again and again over this over this weekend. And it struck me that, but I'm working in different sectors. So for me, the excitement of holistic management is getting people to stop and think about what they really want, what they dream of. And if you ask people to dream, you take them into a different space. This is what I've found. And I've been working with bankers and people in the pharmaceutical industry. Yes, even they have dreams. It's really quite amazing. And also working with people in the NHS, the health service in the UK. I don't know what you think of it. Some people want that kind of UK system and others don't want it for various reasons. But there's a huge organization, quite demoralized in some ways, but also trying to think about how to deal with the human being holistically. And this word is becoming really important in terms of planning in so many different sectors. People are realizing that integration and holistic thinking is the only way to be realistic. And even in science, they're thinking, you have to think holistically. You cannot just take the simple cause and effect. You cannot eliminate all the different factors. You have to think holistically. And you are so amazing sort of proving it, especially the people who actually work on ranches. So who, like me, doesn't work on a ranch? Could you just put your hands up? Or stand up. Stand up, because you didn't get any applause. And yet you're here. Because it does seem it's a lot about ranching and grasslands and productivity. And I just think that we are here, aren't we? If you can make a noise of agreement if you agree with this. Because we're excited by this. It's exciting deep down to our soul, I think, what's happening in the grasslands, because it's much more than just what's happening there. It's something that we know instinctively is what we want as a human being, what we love about life. It's so full. And let's deal with the complexity of human beings and human society and human community. So I asked somebody yesterday, isn't everybody already absolutely convinced of all this? You're saying you're not. Is that... Not everyone is convinced, even in this room, you think? Well, that's what they said. They said 80% probably are here because they're passionate and convinced. And there are probably 20% here today. And the guy I was speaking to said, I brought 5 people who are not yet convinced because I wanted them to sort of learn a little bit. How many of you in the room, if you don't mind, I'm not going to ask you to come up for counseling or anything, but just are still kind of wondering about all this? Do you want to... Okay, stand up. Be Now, that took a lot of courage, didn't it? No, really. You're in a room of fervent believers, and you've identified yourself as someone that everyone's going to jump on afterwards. Now, I know that there were probably many others who didn't really think it was sensible to stand up at this point. But thank you for coming, all of you. Thank you for coming and checking out what's going on here. And maybe at the end, if we remember, you could say something about your reaction, whether you feel less sure, a bit more sure, terribly excited, or whatever it is you feel at the end. It would be quite interesting to know. But our job in the room. So the rest of us are like fanatics. Is that right? Did you want to say something? Okay. So I think that I just wanted to check that out, really, because I could be assuming a lot of things. Gosh, it's getting really suddenly dark. Did the lights go dark, or is my eyes going? Could you put the lights up again? Thank you. Oh, there you are again. So I think that what we need to do is, as a group of fanatics and a few doubters, come up with a holistic vision, a holistic context, I think is what you call it. What I would like to call it is a dream. And what we're going to do is we're going to take one of these boards and we're going to fill it full of the dream of this room. Do you agree? So, we're all facing me at the moment, aren't you? So you've got all these rows. It's really strange rows. None of us organizers. Chris wasn't happy with it. Daniela wasn't happy with it. I wasn't happy with it. Just, what are these rows? It just seems weird. So if you would like, some of you turn the chairs around so you can kind of face other people. And on your chairs, you may find 2 bits of paper, 2 cards. If you sat on them and they're squashed, it doesn't matter. But if you could get a pen, and if you're sitting next to someone you know, you might want to move around to sit with someone you don't know, never met before. So you can kind of move around. Just 1 minute. Can you be quiet just for a moment? Shh. I'm sorry, I'm such a terrible facilitator. You should never tell the group to do all this moving around before you've given them all the instructions. Yeah. So, apologies for that. But you are kind of like anarchic lot, actually. So what I would like you to do is to answer in consultation with some other people, but you've only got about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes maximum, to write down some of the things that you dream for this movement. Is that clear enough? And I've been doing some research into revolution, and I think that it's a mixture of when our dreams get strong enough and our anger gets strong enough, revolution happens somewhere in that space. So I'd quite like, if you think it's a good idea, for you to answer some of these questions. So, can you read it from the back? Okay. So if you can, I'm still here behind here. They're quite obvious, actually, and you Americans know quite a lot about this, I think. So, the truths we hold to be self-evident. Have you heard that phrase before? Okay, so truths. Don't put all the truths you know to be self-evident, but the ones that are particularly relevant to this movement, this holistic management movement. What are the questions that are burning? The burning questions. What are the angers that you contain? Maybe you express them or maybe you don't express them. Not all of the angers, but the angers particularly around this movement. Okay? Make sense? And the last one is, what are your intentions? What do you declare? A bit like the Declaration of intention, or declaration of independence, you could say. So what are your intentions? And all of them are really about your dreams. So you don't actually have to answer any of these questions specifically, but you get the idea of what we're trying to create here. A vision, a dream for this movement in the world today. Think about how it looks like in your dream. And one of the great exponents of this, of course, is Martin Luther King, who said, I went to the mountaintop, I had a dream, I saw my dream. So that's the spirit with which to do this. Now, I'm sure many of you have done this before as part of your holistic context. I wanted to push you a little bit beyond holistic context into dreaming, but you can do whatever you feel. We will take all those cards that you've written, and you can save us a bit of time. If you've got overlap, you don't have to pass all of them in. And we will, over the night, we will make them into a picture that represents the dream of this group. Now, we're going to have a few sessions like this during the conference. They're not going to take as long as this one, but they're going to be brief moments where we're going to throw a question at you and get the input from the room. And through those sessions, try and see what we can do as a movement, as a group of people passionate about changing the mindset of a generation. So are you now ready to do that? So go for it. I will stop you, or Chris will stop you when the time is up. But thank you. Is the guitar on? I've been going around the room just collecting a few words to put in a song. And because I checked out earlier that you were, in fact, a revolutionary group, here is a revolutionary song. Would you like a song? Really? Would you like us? Sing it fast. What? I can't hear what. Oh, Bob Dylan. Oh, yeah, right. How many roads must a man walk? This changes everything. Everything must change. The story we've been living is unrealistic. Now, you know what rhymes with unrealistic, don't you? We gotta wake up from this sleep. We're all in this too deep. We all know you've gotta be holistic, yes. In our dreams and burning questions, anger and intentions, the seeds of revolution surely grow. This is the moment, and this is where we take a stand. And let our half-forgotten feelings show. Let's challenge the confusion and deliberate delusion, looking left and right for a solution. With new heart, new soul, new mind, and with the new true friends we find. Let's be the revolution. Let's dare to dream again. Dare to break the chain. Live the way we've always longed to be. Dare to take the floor. What are we waiting for? Live our lives holistic. It's not a long march, and it's not a journey. The revolution's here, right now. This changes everything. Everything must change. Holistic management is how. In our half dreams and burning questions, anger and intentions, The seeds of revolution surely grow. This is the moment, and this is where we take our stand and let our half-forgotten feelings show. Let our half-forgotten feelings show. And the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind.